Have you ever heard a story so epic it feels like it has to be a movie? Well, this one is real. And it starts with a baby in a basket floating down the Nile River. This wasn't just any baby. He was a Hebrew, born at a time when Pharaoh had ordered all Hebrew baby boys to be killed. His desperate mother placed him in a reed basket and set him adrift, praying for a miracle. And a miracle is exactly what happened. The basket didn't capsize, it didn't drift out to be lost forever. Instead, it floated right to the one person who could save him, Pharaoh's own daughter. She found the crying infant, took pity on him, and named him Moses, which means drawn out of the water. So this Hebrew baby, sentenced to death, ends up being raised as a prince of Egypt. Moses grew up in the lavish royal palace, learning all the wisdom and knowledge of the most powerful empire in the world. He had everything: privilege, education, status. But deep down, he never forgot who he was. He saw the suffering of his people, the Israelites, who were slaves in Egypt, and his heart ached for them. One day, that ache turned into action. He saw an Egyptian taskmaster brutally beating an Israelite slave. A righteous, fiery anger surged through him. In a flash, he intervened and struck the Egyptian down, killing him. The secret got out. The prince was now a murderer, a fugitive. Fearing for his life, Moses fled Egypt, leaving behind his title, his family, and everything he had ever known. He ran deep into the wilderness of Midian. For the next 40 years, the prince became a shepherd. 40 years, imagine that. He went from the splendor of the palace to the solitude of the desert. He married, had children, and spent his days tending sheep, praying and waiting in silence. The fire that had once driven him to act seemed to have faded into the quiet rhythm of desert life. But God hadn't forgotten him. His training was just beginning. Then came the day that changed everything. On the side of a mountain, Moses saw something impossible. A bush engulfed in flames, but not burning up. It just kept burning. As he drew closer, a voice boomed from the fire, a voice that shook the very ground he stood on. "Moses, Moses," it was the voice of God. "I have seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt." Moses was terrified. He was a fugitive, a shepherd, a man who had been in hiding for 40 years. Trembling, he asked, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?" It's a question we all ask, right? Who am I to do something great? And God gave him the only answer that has ever mattered. "I will be with you." In that moment, the shepherd, the fugitive, was transformed. He became God's chosen servant, the deliverer of a nation. So Moses returned to Egypt with his brother Aaron by his side, to confront the most powerful man on earth. He stood before Pharaoh and said, "Let my people go." Pharaoh, of course, refused, and so began a divine showdown. 10 plagues were unleashed upon Egypt, each one more devastating than the last. The mighty Nile River turned to blood. Swarms of locusts devoured every green thing. A thick, terrifying darkness covered the land for 3 days. Finally, with the 10th and most heartbreaking plague, a defeated Pharaoh told the Israelites to leave. Their escape was just as miraculous. With the Egyptian army in hot pursuit, the Israelites found themselves trapped at the edge of the Red Sea. But Moses raised his staff and the waters parted, creating a path of dry ground right through the middle of the sea. They walked through, surrounded by walls of water. When the last Israelite was safe, the Egyptian army charged in after them. And just as they did, the waters crashed back down, swallowing the entire army. God's power and glory were undeniable, but the journey wasn't over. On the sacred peak of Mount Sinai, Moses met with God face to face in cloud and fire. There he received the 10 Commandments, 2 stone tablets inscribed by the very finger of God, the foundation of law and morality for generations to come. But while Moses was on the mountain, the people below grew restless and fearful. They melted down their gold and forged an idol, a golden calf, and began to worship it. When Moses came down from the mountain carrying the sacred law and saw this betrayal, his heart shattered with grief and anger. In that moment of profound disappointment, he threw the stone tablets to the ground and they broke at the foot of the mountain. The law was broken before it was even given, a powerful symbol of the difficult road still ahead for Moses and his people.